We always love when a manufacturer pushes for compact, more affordable lenses that are also really fun to shoot. And that's why I'm actually really excited to play with this brand new addition to the Panasonic L-mount lineup. This is the new Panasonic 40mm f2, a cute little prime lens. And I've decided to break out my Panasonic S9 to play with this because I think this package is really well suited. It matches the smaller size, the sort of simple, fun photography nature of this camera. It's even going to offer some functionality that we were missing on the body itself. I'm Chris Niccolls, this is PetaPixel. Let's explore this cool little prime lens. So when I broke open the box for this lens, for whatever reason, I kept calling it a Voigtlander. I don't know why. I think it's just that the Voigtlander 40mm was like a really nice f2 lens. And then I started to think, well, who else makes 40mm? Because actually a lot of people do. Panasonic's a little bit late to the party. So I went on cage.com, I typed in 40mm into their excellent search engine to see all the options. And yeah, you'll find like the Niccolls Z 40mm f2, you'll find Konicas, you'll find Minoltas, you'll find the Voigtlanders, Leicas. I mean, there's so many great lenses on there. And actually, if you are looking for that kind of focal length, cage.com is a great way to find something used. You can see the condition of all the lenses, you know what you're gonna get, what accessories come with the lens, what issues, if any, there might be with it. So it's a really great search engine, fantastic to find all the gear you're looking for. The prices are clearly laid out. And then, you know, you got the peace of mind that you're buying from a reputable company. You're not buying something privately where you don't know what the quality is going to be like. They have a very generous return policy, and most of their products also have a fantastic warranty on them. So if you're looking for used gear, check out cage.com. They're PetaPixel's official pre-owned camera gear partner. So we're actually walking around a part of Calgary that I haven't explored yet, and I'm already finding some really interesting details that I want to shoot. And this makes for a really handy package, not only because the S9 is so small, but also this 40mm is incredibly lightweight, only 144 grams. It looks like it should be heavier, and I think that's just because it's got a fairly big diameter on here, 62mm filter thread on the front, even though it's only an f2 lens, but it makes the handling really nice. So you got this beautiful manual focus control ring, it's well damped, it's very smooth, and this lens actually does have a degree of weather sealing and dust resistance. Got a nice seal around the lens mount as well, but just a really handy thing to carry around. But it doesn't end there. I mean, first off, having the same 62mm filter thread means that this will use the same filters as the 18-40 kit lens that comes with the S9 as a bundle. Now, as of yet, they don't have any bundle with the 40mm lens, but never say never, that might come down in the future. But if you were to buy this lens to supplement your kit lens and give you that faster aperture, filters are gonna match, that's nice. This also unlocks some extra functionality that the S9 is quite lacking in. I mean, I've always complained that you only get the front control dial and then this fiddly back thumb wheel, but you can now actually customize this manual focus ring to be a command dial instead. That helps. Plus having the customizability of another function button here, which again, the S9 didn't have a lot of customizable buttons. And you had to switch the autofocus and manual focus through the menu. That was really annoying. I love that we now have a little switch here on the side for autofocus, manual focus. So it's these little touches that will just add versatility to this camera. Can it add an EVF? Sadly, no. That doesn't count as a puddle. That is not a puddle shot. No, that's a moist reflection. Now, Jordan, that right there, that is a puddle. So I've been pretty pleased with the autofocus performance on this lens so far, just as I walk around, but we can't do any screen recording with it because Panasonics are funny that way, so we're just gonna do the beep test. But you know, the speed on this, it's not lightning fast, but it's using a stepping motor, which makes sense given its lightweight and affordable nature, but it's still going pretty quick. And I can see the famous Blackfoot Diner in the background. I still haven't eaten there, which is strange, but it's a Calgary staple. But hopefully you'll hear the beeps here as I focus from this to that. And so as you can, well, not see, but hear there, it seems to be doing a pretty good job. I mean, it's smooth at least, it's quite consistent, certainly fast enough for like the street photos I'm doing today, or like family, kid stuff, travel. I don't think you have any problems. I don't know if you'd reach for this for like the ultimate in action photography, but certainly for what it's intended for, I think it's doing a good job. So normally when a lens doesn't have a very impressive macro capability, I just don't mention it at all, but I am gonna mention it here. I mean, macro is not great. 30 centimeter minimum focusing distance, you get 0.17 times magnification. That's just slightly less close than 1 to 5 life-size reproduction. But Panasonic did make a note of telling us that the 40 millimeter is actually very sharp up close, that they actually did correct for that on purpose. So I thought, well, I'll give you guys some close-up shots. It'll give you an idea of how close you can get. And you can see that, yeah, the lens does seem to have quite a bit of detail. Got this nice bright day out. And it's giving us a good opportunity to test flare characteristics and see how this lens does. It's actually performing really, really well. So wide open, I'm not really noticing any washed out areas. I'm certainly not getting any ghosting. And then I thought, well, stopping down the aperture, I'm gonna see some, but actually the lens is very resistant to ghosting as well. So even going down to f22, the max here, like I'm really not seeing anything in the opposite corner. It's doing a really good job with that. Now with the design of the lens, the manual focus ring being right at the end of the lens here, there's no option for a hood, there's no bayonet attachment or anything. They don't provide anything, although I suppose you could use a 62 millimeter rubber hood or something like that if you wanted to, but frankly, I don't really need it right now. It seems to be doing a really good job with all this light. Okay, so time to talk about bokeh. And to be honest, I did not have high expectations for this lens, mostly given the fact that it's affordable, yes, but also that it's got very clearly a 7-bladed aperture diaphragm. And so I figured, oh, things are gonna look pretty harsh. And well, let's go further into it. I mean, looking at the specular highlights, definitely wide open. We can see a nice cat's eye effect, but there's onion rings going on for sure. And like a little bit of a halo effect around, a bit of a soap bubble effect. When we stop down the lens, you can very clearly see the polygonal shape. Now, I understand that that is subjective. Some people really dig that. It's retro cool, I get it. So I'm not really gonna pass judgment on that, but I figured it would give very harsh look to the backgrounds. But actually that's where I'm quite impressed. The backgrounds and the transition look quite smooth. They're not perfect, they're not amazing, but they're pretty decent. And so, you know, for an f2 lens, 40 millimeter, you can get that shallow depth of field. I think it actually has a really nice rendition of that out of focus background. So I wanted to test breathing on this particular lens because this is something that Panasonic emphasizes in their lens construction is very important to correct for. And lens breathing is where, as you focus a lens from minimum focus to infinity and back again, you'll often see your frame, your field of view change quite a bit. It's not very useful, especially when it comes to video and you want to do focus pulls. And so what I'm seeing here on the 40 millimeter is, yeah, very little lens breathing. Panasonic has corrected it, but it's interesting. Normally you'll see the field of view change from tighter to wider and back again, but here, although the breathing is minimal, there's a little bit, and you can see it actually goes in and out again. It almost like pulses towards and then away within that whole focusing range. I don't really see that very often, but it's not terribly distracting. It's just a little bit weird looking. And so I really find myself liking a lot of aspects of this little lens, but something's got to give, right? Well, yeah. And that's when we get into LoCA, longitudinal chromatic aberration, where you get color fringing in the foreground and background out of focus areas. And unfortunately, it's pretty strong here. You can see at f2, we're getting a lot of LoCA. You can clearly see that color fringing in the out of focus areas. But even when I stop down to f4, of course it gets better, but I can still see some LoCA. And just remember, this is hard to get rid of in editing software afterwards. So if you are gonna shoot wide apertures and you're worried about like areas of contrast picking up that color, it's gonna be there. So if I have this adorable little lens that has a bright f2 aperture, I want to be able to shoot at that f2 aperture and get good results, right? So let's take a look at our test charts here and check out the sharpness. So at f2 in the center of the frame, you can see it's really quite good. There's a tinge, just a tinge of softness and loss of contrast, but it's quite decent and I would happily shoot there. When I stop down the lens to f4 though, it just gets better. More contrast, just noticeably gets rid of that hint of blur, and so really nice results. Now the corners are actually quite impressive too. Even shooting at f2, there's some vignetting, but it's very minor, and although it's not going to be pinpoint sharp, it's pretty good at f2. And then we go to f4, just again, more contrast, cleans up a little bit, and actually by the time you get to f4, this lens is sharp across the board. So I have to admit, I really like this experience. I mean, the S9 with this lens makes a lot of sense. It's a fun little package. Still think there should be an EVF there, but that's besides the point.
Review the lens.
Yes, the lens, right. So it's a cute little lens. It's easy to carry around, optically quite decent and sharp. And yeah, LoCA is really the only issue that I had with it, but the cost is very good. And honestly, there aren't many alternatives. So kudos to Panasonic for making this. I mean, when it comes to 40mm lenses, about the only one that really comes to mind is the TT Artisan's 40mm f2. That would be the closest analog. And I mean, I have not personally tested that lens. I hear it's not sterling, it's decent, but it's of course dirt cheap. I'm pretty confident this lens tests better than that. The other option would be the Sigma 45mm f2.8, more expensive, stops slower, and honestly, I hear it's not very sharp up close. So this lens is going to give you good results for less money. Otherwise, you could look at the Panasonic 35mm f1.8, a decent lens. Too bad about the 35mm part, but again, more expensive. So I think what Panasonic has done is given us a very effective and very affordable lens here that brings a lot of enjoyment. And you know what? This package would also be awesome on a gimbal. The lens is lightweight, it's easy to use, doesn't stick out far, and you've got good video capability in this package. So with the limited breathing, this actually could be a really fun lens for cinema work as well. Overall, I hope you guys enjoyed our review here looking at this cute little prime. Leave your comments below. Check out the PetaPixel podcast, this exact same channel, or you can listen to it on all your favorite podcasting apps. Do consider supporting us with a PetaPixel.com membership. We got cool projects coming up this year, and it really helps these ventures come to reality. So you get all these benefits here. It's fantastic. Definitely consider that. Also, there's still time. Go to the Harper Finch website, check out the PetaPixel pop-up store, and you can see our fun merch offered through Harper Finch. That's definitely worth checking out. Thanks for joining us. As always, I'm going to miss you, but I'll see you soon with more on PetaPixel.